Meanwhile, clinical trials for COVID-19 vaccine co-developed by Singapore scientists and a US pharmaceutical firm are about to begin. The trial will be conducted at the SingHealth Investigational Medicine Unit located in the Singapore General Hospital.
Over 150 healthy volunteers of different ages are expected to take part in the early phase clinical trial. To ensure their safety, a stringent regulatory and ethics approval process has been put in place.
So far, we have more than 250 people who have come forward and expressed interest to take part. But not everyone eventually will come for screening, and even for those who come for screening, not everybody will eventually qualify to be enrolled into the study. So we are still on the lookout for more volunteers.
The SingHealth Investigational Medicine Unit, which is administering the trial, took the Straits Times on a walkthrough earlier today of what volunteers can expect. We are joined now by science correspondent Audrey Tan, who is at Singapore General Hospital, to tell us more. Welcome, Audrey. Now let's get straight into it. What did you find out during the tour, and how was the experience like?
Hi, yes. So there are multiple stages involved in the whole vaccine trial, which is expected to last until this October. And volunteers will not be expected to make any hospital stays throughout this entire trial. It's only just outpatient visits. And so one of the first stages would be that volunteers will be given a briefing, and researchers would have to obtain their informed consent before they actually commence anything else. And the reason for this is because the volunteers would need to be briefed on what is expected of them during the entire trial, as well as what are potential side effects that they may experience. And they are given some time to think about whether or not they want to consent. Once consent has been given, the researchers would then proceed to screen the volunteers. So this screening process is what is going on right now. Researchers are still currently screening the volunteers that have come forward so far. And this procedure involves similar things that you would expect during typical health checkups. So for example, volunteers would have their height and weight taken. They will go through an ECG. They would have blood samples and urine samples taken. And time is needed to analyze all these samples before researchers can determine if the volunteer who has stepped forward is eligible to proceed. And currently, we are at this stage of the trial in Singapore. The actual vaccinations are expected to start next week. And during this procedure, volunteers or the subjects who are now involved in the trial will be given another medical checkup before the vaccination is given via an injection into their arm. And after this procedure is done, the volunteers will also be given contact details of any medical professionals so that they are accessible 24/7. They will also be given a diary to log down how they feel throughout the entire procedure, and they would also have to make regular return visits to IMU so that researchers can continue taking down details about how they are proceeding so far.
Right. Audrey, how significant are these trials to get us closer to the end goal of a successful vaccine?
So yes, everyone is very excited or looking forward to a vaccine for COVID-19 to be developed. And worldwide, there are many research groups looking at developing different kinds of vaccines. And it's worth noting that there are over 139 vaccines that are still at the preclinical stage, which means that they have not yet been tested in humans. And worldwide, there are only, I think, 25 or 26 vaccine candidates that have reached the stage of human trials. So the fact that the Singapore co-developed vaccine is at this stage, I think, is something that is significant. And we will just have to monitor the process as the science develops and as the trial develops to see what remains to be seen in the future.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Audrey, for joining us. We've been speaking to science correspondent Audrey Tan on her first-hand experience visiting the lab.